Sup flappers, so it's that time of the month again where one must go before the next arise. And of course I'm talking about my credit card statement, which at this point might as well be a letter from my bank manager asking me, so who are you gonna be wailing on this time, and are you going for consolations? Because let's face it, a lot of people have been waiting on Ganyu and are not afraid to dig a little deep to get her. We are talking about the first waifu here, people. And it's big news. We have about a week left for Ganyu's release, and I have prepared this video to give people a heads up of what they are likely getting into. Waifu aside, there is more about Ganyu than just meets the eye. In this video, we will go over her skills, playstyles, synergies, and how she seems to stack up against other characters. Also, I do want to mention that she may not be for everyone. So with that said, remember to give that like button a good old rub and gently destroy the subscribe button. Okay, so Ganyu. She's a cryo bow user, which should already raise red flags for some of you. Bow users are not very player friendly for the most part, and out of the two that are meant to do damage, one of them is mostly used for their melee stance anyway, so that just leaves good old FISCHL. Ganyu, judging from the skills page that was released yesterday on miHoYo's official forum, focuses around her charge shot in combination to crowd control. Now, if you looked into this, Ganyu has two charge shots. First being your everyday charge shot, and the second being what's called a frost flake arrow, and deals AoE crowd damage after hitting an enemy. And this right here is what separates her from other bow users. Unlike FISCHL, who relies on layered damage through her normal attacks and Oz support, and CHILDE, who toggles between two stances, Ganyu is focused around zone control and burst damage. Now this comes with two problems. Firstly, with her taunt, we do not know how large the area is. This taunt needs to have a big enough area so that we can actually group enemies without having to actively herd them together. Also, depending on how this interacts with ranged units, the exploding damage may not be as reliable for certain content. Secondly, is the dependency on her charge shot. Now, I don't like to brag, but while I am not some government experiment that can use each character to their full maximum potential, I do like to think that I am decent at the game, and I find no shame in admitting that I have missed quite a number of charge attacks on enemies, both big and small. The thing is that charge attacks currently just don't feel good to use. For the current endgame content, you rarely get a chance to breathe, and while Ganyu's kit revolves around using her taunt to set up your charge shot, there is still more than enough room to mess up. And here comes the kicker. For mobile players, this will be even more demanding considering their inputs and precision. I just can't see Ganyu being too friendly to use effectively. So if you are considering on picking her up, do expect there to be a learning curve, and if you are willing to put the time and resources to level and learn to use her, she should be no problem. But she is for sure the first of her kind in this game. Now let's talk about her synergies. Who are you pairing with her? How is she going to fit into your team? And again, forget about the fact that she is your waifu. You may want to get her so you can make her sit on a bench, like I have Albedo right now, and you have her at level 1 so you can talk to her, but we are talking more than that. What kind of teams will you be running her in? Where is the practicality? Now, I will list a couple. Freeze Shatter comps, Melt comps, and Superconduct bot. Now just with these three team comps, it makes her a very versatile unit as long as she can be slotted into roles that are not just main DPS. Now, what we need to look for when testing Ganyu is how many roles can she fulfill, how flexible is she as a unit. If you spend millions of Mora and weeks worth of resin to level a character up, you'd want to be able to take this character anywhere. They should be able to kill your enemies, wash your bed sheets, make you breakfast, and also bear witness to your suffering as you cry in their arms asking why Diluc hasn't come home yet. Flexibility. Flexibility. Flexibility, my flappers. If you ask me, I think she fits more as a support character rather than your main DPS, I just can't see a world where you have her as your main DPS and you just spam charge attacks as your main source of damage, especially for a bow user. I see people saying all over the place, oh, she's a main DPS, main DPS. I just don't see it. I'm sorry. It may just be me, but her kit definitely looks like it's meant for her to set up her taunt, then her burst, and then maybe a charge attack, and then you switch her out. She doesn't provide much on-field presence. So if you are going for her because she is going to be your main DPS, I would urge you to wait at least a week for people to build test her and actually see if that's true. Of course, I myself will be trying my best to make her work in all roles, so be on the lookout for my videos. Now, comparing Ganyu to other characters, we have to start at her element, which is Cryo. It's a very powerful element that wins out by default over Geo, Anemo, and Electro when it comes to synergy and utility. It has Melt, which has one of the highest damage multipliers. It has Freeze, which currently is the best crowd control in the game, and it has Superconduct, which has the biggest debuff in the game. Cryo is the centerpiece to 3 extremely powerful reactions, and currently the game lacks a Cryo character who can consistently upkeep the Cryo status on enemies. Many of the characters can do it for short and small durations or rely on weapons and builds to extend their short windows of Cryo application, but all fall short of true Cryo consistency. And this is where Ganyu comes in. Depending on how consistent and the length of her Cryo application, Ganyu could take the spot to be the most versatile and irreplaceable Cryo unit in the game. But until proper testing is done, we will have to wait and see for that. So people, please consider to like and subscribe if you want to see news about this character. Testing will be done as soon as she is released on this channel. I have all the resources ready for her. And that's it for the video. I do not want to go too in depth and go into build territory for this video as she isn't out yet and there are much to consider still, but hope this video has gotten you thinking a little bit more on whether or not you really need her. Not because you need a waifu, but because you need Ganyu. If you enjoyed this, like it, share it, subscribe, you know the deal. For those wanting to partake in further discussion, join my Discord. You can find the link in the description. So I hope to see you all again in my next video. So until then, I urge you all to stay safe and peace.